Hello, my name is Cochise Pearson. I am the president and founder of Ivy Scholar Success, a firm that specializes in providing exceptional services in tutoring. I am here with my outstanding client, Layla, who is a freshman at Boston Latin and will be transitioning to her sophomore year in September. Layla, could you please tell us briefly about your transition from a small private school to attending one of the top premier large schools, Boston Latin, academically?
Well, that was an interesting transition because I remember at one point in my school there were four students, I believe, in the fourth grade. I wasn't in that class, but it was a really small school. So transitioning from that school to the larger school, I had to take it step by step. And first I was able to get tutoring at that school so that I could excel there and then go on to excel in a new school. And also so that I could skip a grade in going to the new school. And so I did struggle a little when I first got to the larger school, but through continuous tutoring and support, I was able to do well there as well and excel.
Okay, now you mentioned that you struggle. So you skipped a grade from the fifth grade to the seventh grade. And when you actually made that jump, how was the experience for you?
It was a different experience because I had been at the small school for so many years, so obviously I didn't want to leave all my friends behind. But that's a transition that everybody has to make when going from a smaller school to a larger school or from any academic change. And so it was interesting. It was a little strange being younger, but it wasn't that big of a deal since I was only one age away. And yeah.
Okay, now speaking of being younger, how do your peers treat you? Because you are 1 year younger than most of your peers, and how do they interact with you?
Most of my peers don't actually know that I'm younger, but when they do, they're pretty surprised. They don't expect it, especially because of my height. So it's not really a factor that much in my interaction with them.
Now, Layla, it's my understanding that you participated in track. Can you please just tell us about how you were able to develop a passion for track and what event did you participate in?
I don't know if I would go so far as a passion for track. It was definitely something that I wanted to do so that I can make sure I stayed rounded and not just focus academically. But I know that I'm not that athletically inclined, so I'm not going to lie to myself about that. But I did the 400, which is a long distance, but it's not that long distance. It's kind of on the border between long distance and sprint. And that was a fun experience. I did that. 8th grade I did sprint, and then in the ninth grade this year I did the 400. So that was an interesting experience, and we had to go pretty far out to do meets, so that was interesting, being on the bus with all the other girls and just going to the meets to run.
Now, how did you, Layla, balance the two, like running track and your books?
It wasn't that difficult because the routes to the meets were so long. I had a lot of time to do homework on the buses, and that's a lot of the times what I did. But also just having the sports, knowing you need to focus on your academics also, it kind of helps balance the two in itself.
I see. Now, lastly, I received information that you have an affinity for poetry. If you don't mind, could you please share one of your poems?
Sure. So this poem I wrote in response not to really any particular place, but to the world because there's a lot going on in the world. So this poem is called This World is Crazy. This world is crazy. I must be seeing it through a hazy eye. I cannot be seeing so many people die. This world is crazy, and yes, I'm letting it faze me. I have no setting for passive. I can only feel reactive, seeing bloodshed in every corner, each calling the other foreigner. But are we not all one people, faulty under the almighty steeple? Our differences need to be put aside and our arms spread out wide. All the tears that are falling, the burdens the youth are hauling, with nobody left to love, hope only in the one above. And that's just an excerpt, but.
Wow, that is absolutely beautiful, Layla. We're looking forward to hearing more poems in the future, and I certainly thank you for having this opportunity to talk about your experience at Boston Latin, and you have a wonderful day, God willing.